Italy? Okay, so it's Panamonium and St. Clair. Ari. Ari. Italy just won.
You won?
Italy just won.
Oh, Italy won! Yay!
Okay.
How you doing?
Remember? Yeah, I remember.
Good.
So, well, Georgia picked a lousy day for it. You know, like either that or Italy should have been in first place and they would have played yesterday. Instead, they played today. There isn't anybody on the street.
Yeah.
Now, what will happen is everybody will go by here with cars and flags and everything, and it'll make a lot of noise. You have to keep all the doors locked.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
We've had worse, let's put it that way.
Well, no, he couldn't figure out how come there's nobody here.
No.
He says, well, he's trying to make excuses. There's a soccer game, forget about it.
Yeah.
Excuse.
Oh, well.
Okay, George, you better start talking. Let them arrange. You have the show?
Yeah, it's I'm not speaking, I'm just going to show my 10 minutes is going to be on the show.
Would you like to take your seats? My friends, can I ask you to take your seats? Be so nice so we can start. Dalia? Time out. This is a very special night because we are about to conclude a mission impossible on behalf of Step by Step. It's a surprise goodbye to Marsha and Yael from Scotland, and this is also a goodbye, a temporary goodbye to Khaled from Jenin West Bank. Just for today, temporary. We know that you will stay here. We actually like the idea. So I am sorry we are late, but I have to thank two people that are here with us for helping us. And before I say the most important people, I want to say thank you to Katarina, George's sister. She is smiling, but she put this together. Thank you, Katarina. And since your son is getting married,
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
only a few weeks, right?
It's a matter of 2 weeks.
Good. So keep fighting with the future daughter-in-law. Anyway, and the other gentleman I want to recognize who gives me always the moral and the other support is the Honorable Joe Volpe, former federal minister. Thank you, Joe. Other stories you will hear tonight are related to what George devotes his life to. Everybody here knows his story. His personal story is amazing. But without further ado, George will tell you what he's up to and make it short.
Actually, I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, thanks, good.
I'm going to show you a video. It's about maybe 12 minutes long, and it really, it shows, and it's a video with a lot of footage that a whole bunch of people here didn't even see, people that, and it really shows how this all started, and how it started, and how it came to this point. And I think, you know, Mr. Volpe was there when we went to Vatican City that day when we were departing, we were at a Holiday Inn. So I think that's where it kind of stops. And then we're going to show the second video when Colin comes up here to show how after the Pope blessed the tour and how it became, the focus became with the children. So without further ado, please watch this and hopefully you can enjoy it.
doing?
Not bad, buddy.
I'm just over here seeing my buddies off. Wish them all the luck in the world. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
Ricky, hello.
That's right. That's what I'm here for.
There's Marco, the driver. And there's George, anxious and ready to go. What? Okay. What now? Okay, we're at, what's the address here, boys? There we are. So we're on Steeles, and that's the Scarborough-Pickering town line. And this is a momentous occasion. They're at their marks. They're at the ready for the Okay, guys.
Each year, thousands of Canadians are diagnosed with liver disease and many other afflictions that demand organ transplantation. Hundreds of those Canadians die waiting for a suitable donor. In 1992, George Marcello was diagnosed with liver disease. Luckily for George Marcello, a suitable organ was donated. In August of 1995, George received a new liver and a new lease on life. This new lease on life inspired George to bring organ donation to the attention of the Canadian public, and his good friend Sam Vinci walked from Toronto to Ottawa.
When we got ready to make our first step, I was looking to see if I can see Ottawa from where I was standing, and I couldn't see it. And then I started thinking, Ottawa's a long way. And I had to kill that frame of mind, because I don't think we'd be able to accomplish it thinking, when are we going to reach Ottawa? When are we going to reach Ottawa? So the frame of mind that we both got into was, well, you know what? We're going to do it step by step.
Although the 12-day walk did indeed drum up support from the media and people from all walks of life, George realized that much more had to be done. This time, George will walk across Ontario.
I'm Gary Cooper. I'm the Executive Director of the Multiple Organ Retrieval and Exchange Program of Ontario, which we have, like so many other organizations funded by government, just had a funding cut, one more funding cut. So I think George's walk is going to raise awareness significantly. Clearly the distance that he's going to cover and the number of people he's going to come in contact with and the frequency with which he's going to make that contact are going to be very positive for
raising awareness for organ donation. He started June 26th.
I pretty well counted my blessings before 95.
Walking across Ontario to raise awareness towards organ donations.
Dynamite! Charges, tick, 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 boom! Dynamite!
And George, how are you holding up?
Real scorchers and electrical storms following me and mosquitoes from another planet.
Prognosis is excellent. A few years later, he's doing well. In fact, he's walking across the province.
Joe Camara is a good friend of George and his road manager. What's a typical day during the walk like?
One day is very tedious, you know, driving 1 kilometer an hour beside him, making sure he doesn't get run over on the road. Well, here we go. George is gonna have to stay with his foot elevated for the next couple of days because the blister busted and he got infected. And how did you feel about the doctor's prescription and his advice, George?
It's only 1 day, it's not 2 days.
It's 2 days, he said. 48 hours. He's got himself a pair of crutches. This guy is fucking crazy enough to be hobbling down the highway on crutches. I guarantee you, you'll see that on film. Bye.
Beautiful summer? Is Ontario?
Ontario is the most beautiful province in the world.
And you were well received?
Yes, by every community. There's a lot of Italians in Ontario. I can't believe it.
Toccato quasi 1 milione di persone.
I am so proud to be a Canadian. You know, and
Marcello walked more than 2,000 kilometers across Ontario to get the message out. Both men presented a plaque to the transplant unit at Toronto General Hospital before meeting provincial Liberal leader Dalton McGuinty outside.
George's walk ends September 30th in Toronto, after which he'll meet Premier Mike Harris.
There's talk about me being acknowledged at the throne speech on
You're going to be marching around Ontario, 2,000 kilometers here and there and everywhere. Why are you doing that, and what do you hope to achieve?
After further cuts in healthcare spending, and specifically from the multi-organ retrieval exchange program,
we have, like so many other organizations funded by government, just had a funding cut, one more funding cut. And George is going to be raising awareness, I think, very significantly.
George's main goal was to get the attention of the Harris government. And he got it.
Like me, thousands of people across Ontario were inspired by George Marcello and a whole step-by-step team as he walked across the province. And that's why I invited George to join me in the legislature for the throne speech, our inaugural throne speech this session.
George Marcello waited years for a donor before his life-saving transplant in 1995. This year, he walked across Ontario to increase awareness of organ donation. In response to Mr. Marcello's mission, and on behalf of the people of Ontario, Premier Harris has accepted as a Millennium Challenge the goal of doubling the organ donation rate by 2005. Your government is developing an organ donor action plan that, through outreach and education, will raise public awareness and improve registration. A new Premier's Advisory Board on Organ Donation, headed by hockey legend Don Cherry, complementary initiatives.
The Premier's Advisory Board went on to become the Trillium Gift of Life Network. Neither Step by Step nor George were invited to participate.
Thanks, George, and good morning, everybody. I'm involved because I care. I am a past member of the government that, in fact, funded the Ontario Trillium Gift of Life Network to the tune of $120 million. In 1999, Premier of the day, Premier Harris, made that commitment to Ontarians to move forward on the issue. It was because of George's work that, in fact, that fund was set up. It was introduced in a throne speech, and work began. It wasn't until about a year.
Hey, Lord, won't trouble never end? Tell me, are you still my friend? I've got such a heavy load. When will I reach that glory road? One more mountain to climb, one more river to cross. Come such a long, long way still, got a long way to go.
I know George is tied up, but I just want to add, on behalf of the legislature, our respect for what's being done here today.
Shuffling our feet. And let's get into business of saving lives. Now.
And that Hummer is going to be traveling with you. You'll be walking. It'll be following through Canada. Now, very harsh winter. This Hummer is formerly a military vehicle. Is that correct?
That's correct. It used to be a machine of war. Now it's the love machine. It's going to help.
As a liver recipient, he'll be walking across Canada, taking 25 million steps.
This time, he took with him the torch of life, a torch that would be touched by over 1 million Canadians.
Marcello is walking across Canada to raise awareness for organ donation. He met with Mayor Vic Power, who
Red light, he goes from car to car asking for donations to help his cause.
It's going towards organ, Step-by-Step Organ Transplant Association.
George has been on the road for 225 days. He started his journey in Toronto and is now making his way through the prairies.
The final decision has to be made by the family. Thank you. Thanks a lot, bud.
In 1995, George received
In our first segment, we bring you the story of George Marcello's journey across Canada. For the last 250 days, George has been on the road telling Canadians about the shortage of organ donations and the vital need for a national donor registry. We had a chance to speak with Mr. Marcello during his recent visit to Moose Jaw.
Well, actually, today is day 252. And from Kenora, we're going to be walking west towards Victoria. And
from there, he's hopping a plane and taking his mission around the world. And he's hoping to meet some fairly high-profile people along the way.
One with the Pope in Rome. We're hoping to have an audience with him, and we're hoping he can proclaim on behalf of the Vatican that they fully support organ donations. And then we're hoping to stop off in London to meet the Queen.
Hello, it's 10:15 here in our studio in Vatican City. I'm Laura Angela Bagnetto. I'm sitting next to a man who has crossed one of the world's longest land masses on foot. From Canada is in the studio with me right now. Hi, and welcome to Rome. Thanks for coming by.
Hi, thank you for having me here too.
As a symbol of hope, George travels with the Olympic torch of life, where today over 1 million people have held the torch as symbol of their support. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me in welcoming Mr. George Marcello, who is in day number 541 of his 769-day walk.
We should all be aware of the importance of organ donation. George Marcello, congratulations and thank you for what you've done.
And he's the guy that's going to do it. And I think it's an appropriate thing that he's here at the legislature to get some respect from the people that really need to see this done. To get some respect from the people. To get some respect from the people. To get some respect from the people.
Explanation. Everybody understands his hardships, his frustrations, his hard work. But one thing nobody will ever take away from him, and that's the will and the power of will to go ahead and expand on the issue of organ donation. This is an emotional one. It crosses all party lines. It's a bipartisan issue, but it also has implications on the international arena. And maybe the best example was the case in Israel, or rather in the West Bank. And last year, I was called by George to assist with and facilitate the coming of Caleb's father from Jimmy, a tragic case. And I have to say that your fathers and your arrival to Canada marked a significant milestone. What George is doing, this is a closed circle. There is no media here today unless you will watch the Toronto Sun tomorrow from page. That's where you will hear it before. And favor, the public is in favor, legislation is in favor, although there are catches-22 and some kind of hurdles that are difficult to overcome. The story of Khaled, or rather Ahmed, your brother, and his donation, his organs were donated to 5 Israeli kids, made me think that I should not only get involved, but I should endorse it, because if it's not just organ donation, it is also understanding between peoples, and probably much more easier than coming to terms with general or generalizations. All Palestinians are bad, all Israelis are bad, or vice versa. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Fact of life is that it brings life. And as George is known for being stubborn and dedicated and doesn't sleep, doesn't eat on time, Katerina, you should look after him more often. I know it's a tough gathering, but we are going to help. I can speak on my behalf. I will definitely assist you. And there are people here like our friend, Honorable Joe Volpe, who will definitely support Robert Sarner, Roots Company. And there are people here like Libio, Gamatronic, a high-tech company. There are corporations run by people that went through organ donation. You will later hear the story of one of our friends and another one. And so many. We came to the conclusion that maybe to demonstrate the international impact of organ donations, it would be great if we invite Marsha Gladstone from Scotland. My condolences, England lost to England, but Scotland, you are still outside, and that was your luck. If you were under the British Empire, you would be indeed proud. But we had made a decision, and that's why I first called you, because Marsha's case, as difficult as it is, as sad as it is probably a symbol of how important organ donations can be between nations to bring peace. Where governments cannot bring peace, people will bring it. That's our role. But your story demonstrates to me much more than just a declaration of it's important. It's you. We wanted to host here, so you can tell the media, so you can tell Canadians, which are the lowest number of organ donors in the world, as opposed to Spain, where 95% of Spaniards signed the back of their license driving. Oh, actually, it's a law only if you opt out, right, George? Is that the case? Canada needs a lot of work to be done. Marsha's story is an incredible one. She will tell you in a moment. Not because we want to hear it again, but because we want you to know that this evening was to say goodbye. There's no gala. We don't need trumpets. We wanted you to feel among friends that appreciate what you did. What happened is tragic. But I think that your visit to Canada has a symbol, because when Yael, your daughter, took the torch from Ahmed, the Queen's father, and before, it was to me a dream come true. I saw 2 young people that paid the price of unfortunate realities. So I thank you for coming, you too, Yael. I'm happy we hosted you. I hope you had a good time. And I would like Marsha Gladstone, please.
It's so exciting, and it's such an honour for Yael and I to be here with you all today, and to have been able to be a part of a week full of such unforgettable and beautiful experiences. Right from the moment our tickets were booked, I said to you, George, that I felt that this was a fairy tale. And to a great extent, that's exactly what it has been. And that's what we've been living for this past week. One man's dream has come true. It's come to life. And yet Elle and I have been part of that dream. And it truly has been the greatest honour to have been involved in this fantastic series of events, all aimed at making this country sit up, and hopefully the world, sit up and take note and see what can happen through one man's vision, through love. Going on the donor list is a choice. It's a choice that everybody can make. It's strange, but if you were to give any human being the choice between life and death, there's absolutely no question what that choice would be. Life is precious to every single person. And yet ask any one of them, would they choose to give that gift of life to somebody else? Now that is different. It's totally illogical. It's the greatest gift that any human being can give to another, and at a time when we ourselves no longer have any need for it. But yet, we question it. I hope that soon the time will come when that question will be irrelevant, and that the most basic tenet which underpins the entire Bible will be truly lived, and that we all treat our fellow man as we would like to be treated ourselves. It's been many years since I was here in this gorgeous city of Toronto. And as some of you know, my mother is Canadian, and my very fondest childhood memories are of long idyllic summers spent on the lake in Kingston, and wonderful times playing with my Canadian cousins, who have remained a very important part of my life, and who are here today to support me and Yael and the torch of life. Happiness for me at 7 years of age was multi-flavoured ice cream, Wilmots, hot dogs, Kentucky Fried Chicken, popcorn, Laura Secords, popsicles and Tootsie Rolls. Just a few of the fabulous treats on offer just this side of the Atlantic, at a time when brands were not available outside of their country of origin. I could never have imagined then what would bring me back here many years later to Toronto. How unpredictable, how strange, and how utterly mad life really is. I know that before Yanni was killed, my place at an event like this would be amongst the audience. But then suddenly everything changed, and I was catapulted into a new and different world. So now I have a story to tell. And I hope to have the opportunity another time to really share more of it with you. It is the story of a terrible loss, but if in the telling I can inspire you and fill you with a sense of the goodness and the humanity that was Yanni, if I can inspire you to do more and to care more about your fellow man, then Yanni still lives, because doing and caring is what Yanni was all about. So here is the story. There was once a little girl who was desperately ill. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, she waited for help, but no help came, until, by the tender age of 8, her poor, emaciated body began to give up the struggle, and there was virtually no hope for her survival. Then, by a miraculous quirk of fate, her luck suddenly changed on the day that my 19-year-old son, Yanni, was murdered by a Palestinian suicide bomber aboard a Tel Aviv bus. The bomb was packed with metal bolts to do the maximum damage possible, and one of those bolts lodged in Yanni's brain, and as it did, his life came to a sudden and violent end. Yanni had boarded that bus full of life, full of fun and full of enthusiasm, on his way to spend a holiday weekend with his uncle in Tel Aviv. But he never got to finish that journey, and all his hopes and his dreams, together with his young life, were snuffed out in the blink of an eye. In his 19 years, Yoni achieved more than most of us do in 90. He taught Jewish studies in our local synagogue. He tutored either school or religious subjects most days. He helped out with the services in the synagogue every week. He was head of the local Jewish youth group, and he was part of the youth delegation to the Scottish Parliament. He was the youngest volunteer to help in the preparation for burial according to Jewish law. He taught himself to speak Hebrew and to play the guitar, and all this while studying for his final leaving exams, which he and 3 others gained the highest grades in Scotland. He was nutty, zany, yet utterly focused all at the same time, and he had friends of all backgrounds and religions. I always felt safe when Yoni was around. He was going on to study medicine, and I know he would have made a fantastic doctor. But Yoni died, his life blown to pieces by a Palestinian terrorist. And in his death, he gave the gift of life to that little girl with the fading hope, little Yasmin, who just happened to be a Palestinian. Our lives are made up of an infinity of moments, most of which pass by unnoticed, very few of which remain with us forever. But that moment when the reporter phoned to ask how I felt about my son's kidney having been given to a Palestinian was one of those moments that I will never forget. A fierce pain of shock just went right through me. My mind jammed with thoughts and feelings. How could this be possible? Why were we not told beforehand? My son, so recently murdered by a Palestinian, and yet his organ had been used to save the life of a Palestinian? I struggled to digest all this, to think quickly and clearly. The reporter was waiting on the phone, and then suddenly everything became clear, and I knew without doubt that this is exactly as it should be. I knew that what's important is the saving of a life, no matter whose. In the face of those terrorists who practice a culture of death and nurture hatred, what could be a stronger statement for the sanctity of life than this? And I realized that the Israeli transplant team had been 100% correct in not discussing the matter. There really was nothing to discuss. The reporter was waiting, and I answered him. If something good can come out of something so evil, then it helps us find meaning in the needless death of our son. A year later, I met Yasmin and her family at their home, and as that young mother came towards me to embrace me, I felt our 2 hearts merge, her gain and my loss becoming one thing, forever bound by the accident of the perfect match. I was deeply touched to see a large photo of Yoni in their entrance hall, and also Yasmin's very own photo of Yoni on her bedroom wall. She called Yoni her brother, and oddly enough, at 9 years of age, she was strangely like my own little dark-haired 10-year-old daughter of that time, Yael, Yoni's sister, who has that same enlarged photo to this day on her bedroom wall in Glasgow. A perfect match, a link forever, a glimmer of hope for the future. 2 families brought together across a divide in the most extraordinary of circumstances, only to discover that when it comes right down to it, there really is no divide. And now nearly 10 years have passed since my darling Yoni was a part of this world, doing all the many things he used to do in a day, always so busy, always doing good, always with his whole heart and soul. So much has changed in those years, and yet so little has changed. When I look at Yael and at my 13 grandchildren, I realize just how much he has missed. He knew Yael as a little 19-year-old who never went anywhere without a book and a teddy. Sometimes I wonder if he would recognize the smart young lady of 19 who's fast catching up on him. And he doesn't know that he is an uncle to 13 nephews and nieces, including a Yoni and a Yonatan. He doesn't know about Facebook or Skype or Blackberries or iPhones. He's never heard of a man called Obama. There is just so much that he doesn't know. Life runs on at an incredible pace, but that's okay, because I've learned that however much moving on I may do, it doesn't mean leaving Yoni behind. It means carrying his memory and all that I've learned and still learn from him along with me. But whatever may change in my life, And in the world, there are some things that will never change, like the fact that Yoni will always be 19, that he will dwell forever in the hearts and souls of all those who knew and loved him, and that the energy of all that he did and all that he was will never stop inspiring us. Amongst Yoni's belongings he had with him on that fateful day on the bus, we discovered a list of aphorisms, sayings about life that he had been writing. These have been used over the years to inspire school children and students to develop a feeling of community responsibility. I will end with two. If you find it difficult to motivate yourself to do something, then ask yourself the following question. At the end of this week, what will I have accomplished? Will I have watched TV, or will I have watched my actions? Will I have shared gossip, or will I have shared knowledge? Will I have spent money on my kids, or will I have spent time with them? Will I have changed my hairstyle, or will I have changed someone's life? And the second one is, a person who is only concerned with himself will wake up one morning and question his worth. A person who gives his time and effort to others will know his worth when he sees the fruits of his labours. I hope that all the labours that you, George, have poured into the torch of life with your heart and soul will indeed bear wonderful fruits, and that you will be blessed with good health to carry on and the strength to take your project further and further. Thank you so much for inviting us.
George, Khaled, please join me here. Marsha, I would like you to come here. Marsha, the Canadian Center for Peace, which is headed by President Lorenzo of Israel, would like to present to you this momentous, small moment, but you should cherish it forever. We always believe and he believes that this can happen. And you will get yours on a different occasion. But to you, I present this and I thank you for being here. Khaled and George, come here. And now I want to tell you, this is, to me, a fulfillment of a dream for you too. We are not going to stop this step by step because we made a commitment. Right now, the foundation in Canada needs a lot of support, and it always reminds me the boy that came home from school with his report card and everything is negative. He failed in every subject. But in music, he is excellent. So his father hit him and the boy says, "Why do you hit me?" He says, "In your situation, you still have the courage to sing. I mean, you have to improve." We are going to make an effort and we're going to improve this foundation and make sure that the legacy of what just transpired in the last week will be remembered forever. I thank you all. Gala, you want to say something? A short film by Gala. And then we will ask the Honorable Joe Volpez to give us a short, which is time, 3 minutes. Peace of mind.
How you feeling, Chris?
Good.
Yeah. All set, ready to go?
Oh, I can't wait.
In the Canada 769-day walk, we're passing the torch of life to the youth of our nation.
Carry it for a short distance right now, the torch, and then...
All the way to the school.
But that's only now.
Today marks the 30th day of Christopher's trek. From Bloor Collegiate, he's walking to visit students at Bishop Morocco Catholic School. And he walked through the doors of the Chum City building to join us here on Cable Pulse 24. Christopher, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I want to show one piece of equipment that you wear all the time that is extremely important to you. Tell us what this is, Christopher. When this pager goes off, and I hope it goes off really soon, what are you going to do?
Well, first I'm going to scream my head off. Then I'm going to...
is walking across the country promoting organ donor awareness.
That's the message Christopher Knowles is taking across Canada.
I was born with a disease called biliary atresia.
Life kicks off today in Wasilla. It's a 2-year campaign where students will pass the torch from Alaska all the way to Argentina.
Noah, please light the torch of life. There we go.
Toronto police officers passed the torch of life to their Queen City counterparts at the Peace Bridge. Students ran from Alaska through Canada to promote the cause of organ donation, and now that run continues through the U.S. and points to the south.
The torch passed through Buffalo. Canadia's high school students carried the torch from City Hall to their school on Delaware Avenue.
About the important issue of organ donation.
The torch of life made its way through Hartford today in hopes of...
Liver donor recipient and campaign founder George Marcello is traveling the country in the truck of life and recruiting school kids everywhere he goes.
A local teenager carried a special torch through the streets of downtown Pittsburgh today. It's called the Torch of Life. It's a symbol of the destiny.
Wasn't that easy after?
Yeah, I was scared at first, but now I'm fine.
We love you, Jamila!
Beautiful.
I'll be a Superman!
What did this mean to you?
It felt very good.
Okay, and who would you
like? Who'd you like this torch passed to?
All right.
All right.
We're gonna make that happen.
The torch of life that's going to go on a 4-year journey around the world in front of His Holiness Pope John Paul II.
Santo subito.
I can do it too. I can do it. But this guy's the real star, though. Not me.
Yeah, but we got him.
Across the country with the Torch of Life, asking young people to remember the importance of organ donation because it can save a life. Khaled Khatib is leading the charge.
Let's go!
20-year-old Khaled Khatib arrived at City Hall carrying the torch for life. Khatib's 11-year-old brother was accidentally killed by an Israeli soldier back in 2005. His family donated his brother's organs, which helped save 5 Israeli children. So now Khatib wants to spread the message of the importance of organ donations by
The Torch of Life Relay brings awareness to organ and tissue donation, and the soldiers at CFP Petawawa hoisted the flame.
It's great to support a worthy cause, and to have CFP Petawawa be part of that. Our soldiers are, in fact, integral parts of that community. So their moms, their dads, their brothers, their sisters, with family cares that are the same as the average Canadian.
And I have something. Oh, here. This one, this for Yael. She birthday 2 days ago. Just now I want to give her.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Yael. Happy birthday to you.
Israeli soldier. His organs were donated and helped save the lives of 5 Israeli children. For telling your story and sharing it with us. What was that moment like, passing the torch for you?
It was so emotional. Actually, my daughter took the torch from Khalid, and it was...
There is a lot of hope ahead if we pull together. If we use as much resources as we could, I believe there's cures just around the corner. All I have to do is take a visit to the hospital or talk to anybody that's suffering. And that's all the motivation I need. We need to have more increase in organ donations, and we need to have people more aware of that. In signing your card, you will most definitely be saving a life.
Please lend your support for this worthwhile cause. Sign your organ donor cards and discuss it with your loved ones.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be one.
I apologize for the quality of the sound and etc. etc. This is homemade. We have we are not hiring PR companies. We do everything at home, and actually, it's George that's doing everything at home. Thank you. Someone has to put our thoughts for the future as to where we go. He has 3 minutes. It's very difficult to tell former minister in the Canadian cabinet to do everything in 3 minutes. Joe, 4, 5, 6. Joe Goldberg.
Thank you, Harry. But actually, I should start off by saying thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Ahmed, and thank you, George. It was a very moving experience. One would say, one would look around and say, why don't we have a great big crowd to share this experience with us? So but George has been very persistent. George and I have known each other from the first day that he began his journey. So I've learned a lot more than he has. I say that we've known each other from the very beginning because I was the Parliamentary Secretary for Health, studying the issue of organ transplantation in Canada, the conditions around the world, etc. And I've gone through a great big learning curve. But one of the things that I haven't had, and many people haven't had, and that's why I wanted to start off by thanking you, thanking Alette, thanking George, is that, like everybody else, like so many people, I lack the courage to face life challenges the way that you have. And I couldn't help but think about that as I watched these videos, as I heard you speak. That was the most moving speech. I can't imagine a father being able to say what you say. I heard one, Gladstone, say that a few months ago. Because I can't imagine a father having that proximity to the challenge of life and having the courage to express himself, I find it even more fascinating and envious, respectful that a mother would do this. I've had a conversation like this with my own wife. And we're all very, very consumed by our own immediate experience. Very difficult for us to go the next step. But Ari has helped us make that next step. It's brought your experience, Mike's experience, much closer to all of us. It shows that there is a bigger picture. And George has tried very hard to make that a reality for us immediately here in Canada and elsewhere. I don't know whether I would have the courage to get beaten down so many times that I'd have to get up and say, pay attention. But happily, there are people like Aaron who believe that the word peace actually means to bring people together so that they develop the courage to see each other. That's all we need. Your story is an inspiration. So is yours. And I hope that those of us in Canada who have come closer to you and to you over the course of this last week, using George and Aaron as a vehicle, that will come a little closer to understanding what it means. That will take the steps that George has taken to make that happen. So I hope you've enjoyed your week here. I hope that you continue to enjoy your stay. But more importantly, I hope you'll accept the thanks of all of those men and women, boys and girls. I know that we closed off at a school that I attended as a little immigrant boy when I first came to Canada, Sinclair, that will take back with me. I note that all of us really do very humbly thank you for doing what you did, for having the courage that you've shown, for having the ability to reach out, and for having, again, the constancy to keep
this story, rather not mine, but those who just went through organ transplant. This is a phenomenal story, and success is only in the eyes of the one that went through it. Introduce yourself, tell your story. You have 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
I'm Louis Alamo. I'm a cancer and liver transplant survivor. And believe it or not, I've known George since we were kids. I went to St. Clair. Never in a million years that we'd be crossing our paths at this time in our life. Anyways, thanks to the hard work of the Toronto General Hospital, one of the best transplant team in the world. If it wasn't for their innovations, I would not be considered a liver transplant recipient. And the reason why is that when our protocol indicates that if you have 3 tumors or more, you're not considered a liver transplant patient or to be on the transplant list. And the Toronto indicates that if you get 3 tumors or more, provided a certain diameter of size, they would consider you as a transplant patient. And I had 6 tumors. And they went through all the tests. I ended up being accepted. I was on the transplant list for 1 week. It was called. I was very fortunate for fighting time. Luckily, the liver cancer was not aggressive, so we went to chemorehabilitation, fighting time. In the meantime, my daughter said to me, "Dad, I want you to walk me down the aisle. I'm going to they may happen." So you should say to my daughter, "Are you sure? You're going to have a bikini line. You're going to ruin it." No, Dad, I want to do it. I want to do it. Unfortunately, I ended up getting cadaver liver, so that never occurred. That never happened. And because of that, I'm here. I was able to see my son graduate from Waterloo. Went to convocation just Saturday. Out to working for Apple as an engineer. So because of that, somebody said, I'm here. And unfortunately, with the bureaucracy of organ donation, we should be able to, it's a simple matter, stop procrastination, just have a simple card and license plate, and just get it over with. And we can have these stories here. And a prime example, I employ 13 people, and as you can see, very healthy, still productive, and I train a lot of people, very intelligent, and I can have a lot of contribution to society. I never had the opportunity to help George. I've helped him in other ways, financially, but I didn't have the time. Running your own company is very, people know it's very demanding. It's hard to just step away and provide help. But as I'm getting healthier and I'm starting to delegate some of the responsibility, I'll be able to be involved a lot more and try to help them in this great endeavor of making organ supplies. I've done wonderful work. Their hands are tied. They have a lot more opportunities. Let's give them that opportunity so that people like me, unnecessary, or the best term I would say is people are unnecessarily dying. And that could be avoided. Not only that, but people that are waiting for transplant lists are costing us a lot of money by keeping them alive. Whereas an organ would be available, it'd be cheaper to have an organ transplant versus having somebody sick and spend all kinds of money, 2 years of dialysis and all that. All we need is organs. So we just need strength. Hopefully, Joe Volpe's participation and our hard, dedicated work, we can make this a reality. It's very simple. I can go on and on, but I just want to keep it short. 3 minutes is up, right?
The company with 13 employees today. They are paving our roads so we can drive healthy, and we are happy. You recover, and we wish you all the best. Monty, Lermont, here's another story that one must hear in order to understand the importance. You have 2 minutes. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Humphrey. 2008, I actually work at Toronto General Hospital. I work in the hemodialysis department where I actually see folks that are not healthy kidney-wise. I'm one of the, what we call use technicians. I help to wash the dialysis and get ready for patients. So I've been there for approximately 15 years. So I get to see a little bit on the other side, people who are suffering from failed organs. In 2008, actually, it was a transition for me because I remember January 2008, you make New Year's resolutions, and I said, God, I want something completely different this year. I don't want to hear the normal cliche, married, fail, but at the store, get the car accident, I'm doing good. I want something new that is you telling me this is what I'm supposed to do. I actually had to go to Trinidad to find this out. So when I came back, a friend told me that your son has his cousin on Facebook saying that she's dying, she needs a liver transplant. So my son has a cousin. Well, see, I was married before, and my ex-wife, her family, I don't really know them that much. So I asked him, I said, whose cousin is this? And he said, oh, it's Jada. She's just 14 months and she's dying. So I said, I'll go see what's going on. I'll go pray with them and, hope everything works out fine. Did all of that, and on my way back from sick kids back to my job in Toronto General, somewhere between that time, something hit me and says, why don't you be a donor? I literally stopped in the middle of the street. I mean, if you know what Girard Street looks like, traffic going back and forth, I'm in the middle of the street crying, asking myself, what are you crazy? So I finally did it. I'm a kind of person like this. If I give you my word is my word. Too many people give words and take it back. So I went back and I said to Jada's mom, listen, do you mind if I be a donor? I don't know how it's going to be. This is the X family you're talking about. So she said, great. With a kind of skepticism, is he actually going to do this? Well, I went and did all the workup, and they said, you are a match. So it was game on. For me, it was a no-brainer. I just felt completely at peace doing it. I remember calling my wife and saying to her, impressive wife that is, I'm going to be a donor to Jada. And she said, okay. To this day, I said we talk about it later. To this day, we never had a discussion about who you giving this liver to. So that was just why. But for me, it was a fulfilling thing because I've seen people suffering with kidney failure. My own dad died from kidney failure back home in Guyana, and at that time, we didn't know anything about dialysis or, you have kidney failure or liver failure, you're sure it's dead. So to me, doing this was a great honor and honor my dad and the fact that I could actually turn and help somebody. To me, it's humbling. People may call me a hero. I don't find it to be a hero. I find it as a humbling thing because you come out and you look at life and you think to yourself, the things that we worry about, get upset about, fuss about, is nothing compared to somebody who's fighting for life. And if I could at least be a part of that to help somebody restore their life, I am extremely happy. To me, it was complete joy. I saw Jada just about March, and she's doing great, and going to be a very fine young lady. I'm looking forward. The one thing I'm looking forward to see what her real purpose in life is when she gets much older and she's doing really well. What is her real purpose? Because I'm thinking there must be a reason why I was able to do this for her to live. There's got to be a purpose, and I intend to see that purpose fulfilled eventually. I hope I'm alive to see it because I'm not as young as I look.
And on this happy note, we thank you, and we thank you, and we thank everybody. It's pasta time, and then we're going home. Marsha has to leave tomorrow, right? Back to Scotland. So we wish you a happy and nice trip. We hope to see you again. You better be to come again and again. We thank you. The family from Kingston, Ontario. Do you know what that means to come all the way before? You know that in Quebec, since the Bill 101 came into effect, people took the 401. It's so busy now. I don't go there, but I appreciate the fact that you came to meet your cousin and of course you too from the States. Well, yeah. Origin. يا كالد شكرا كثير. our regards to your father. We didn't forget. We hope to see him again. I thank all our friends who came here tonight. And I want to say to Father Caprelli, where's the father? Where's father? He's celebrating Mass, so we thank him, and we thank Katarina for making the arrangements. But most of all, I want a standing ovation to George. Ladies and gentlemen, George. Thank you so much. Bon appetit. Never give up. Okay. I want you to understand.
Picture perfect sunny day. Everyone together. Color the blue sky, feeling the rain. Paint yourself a perfect picture. We can make it so much better. Picture whatever you choose.